Hello and welcome back to the Dutching channel. Now we're on Monday the 18th of March 2024. It's 8:30 in the morning, and what I'm going to run through this time is the NAP and next best. So basically it's my best selection and my second best selection, and doing these in singles, I know that people would prefer to have 2 bets a day than betting in 40 races. You know, when you've got to start at, say, 1 o'clock in the afternoon till 9:30 in the evening once they get going in the summer months. So I know some people think, oh no, just 1 or 2 bets for me, that'll make life easy. So what we're going to do, I'm just going to show you the last 4 days. All right, so we're going to start off with the 14th. And the way we do this is exactly the same as I do with this spreadsheet on everything. But the difference is this time you've got to use the My SP column, and only, and I mean only, the price for the first horse. And the 2 shortest prices will be our 2 bets of that day. So 355 is the shortest in the 130. Now you can write this down as you go along, but we know those 2, because we've only worked 2 races out, are going to be the shortest. 519 no, and then 431. I'll show you a little bit slowly so you can just see how it works. 661 is the shortest price there. That's no good. The shortest price in the race will always be at the top. 674 is no good, but obviously there's no bet in that race. 374. Right, so here's one. 2.21. I'm not saying that's going to be one of the shortest, but that's 2.21 for now. In our head, we know it is. 370 and 251. So what you can do, just to remind yourself here, is just put 221 and it's great, isn't it? I've forgotten the other one already. 221 and 251. So they're the 2 shortest so far. And then we carry on. 349, no. So basically we've got to get one better. It's got to be 2 point something. Yeah, we've got one here, 1.69. So that obviously is the lowest at the moment. And some days there'll be a lot more races than others, because I do work every race out from that day. No betting race there. And that would have been it. That would have been the last race. So we know that the NAP is going to be this one that was 1.69. So there we go. So what I'm going to do is just copy and paste that. And we're going to put that in the empty sheet. And our next best price, or lowest price, I think was the 221. So working backwards. Yeah, we had the 251 there, and as you can see that had won. I think it was the 221. There we go, and that one as well. So breeze of wind. And I just want to show you day by day here over the 4-day period. So those on that day would have been your 2 selections. Now the Betfair SP would have been 411 on max of stars. So like every bet that we do using the spreadsheet, we do it to return £100. And we know in one race you can't lay out more than the stake of £50. So the first one would be 411, your stake would be 24.33, and it lost, but it finished second. All right, so it wasn't way down the field or anything. And our next selection was Breeze of Wind, which went off at 1.91, and we know any bet that finishes under 2 is always going to be our maximum stake of £50. So we go and bring that lovely calculator out that I like, and we'll go 1.91 times our £50 stake would give us back 95.50, and those 2 bets added together would have been 74.33. So we minus the 74.33, and it means on that day we had a £21.17 profit for just those 2 bets. No one's telling anybody, oh, that's not enough money to win, I need more than that. But don't forget, you haven't lost. And you're rolling this up on a daily basis. No one's telling you you've got to do this for £50. You're only betting 2 horses a day. You're not betting on 40 races per day and laying out 2,000. You're just laying out £74.33 to return a profit. And this is what it's all about, is profit. But you don't have to be putting £50 on. That's just the stakes that I use. But I mean, you could put 5s on, 10s on. Yes, all right, you might only win 2 or 3 quid. If you move the point, you'd win £2.11 for £5. But what we're trying to do is get a profit. So it's all about winning. So we'll take away that day, which was the 14th, and now we're going to run it on to the day after. Again, at the bottom of the screen, I know I've got lay bets, but that was the last video I did, which maybe I should have changed. But you've got the email address on there. So if you wanted any of these back days, I can always send you one of these spreadsheets and you can take time, go through it and look yourself. But watch the videos that I put on this morning, because I've done how to do lay betting. That's if you're into that kind of stuff on the exchanges. Or I've done value bets, which again are just singles. So it's not all just about Dutching, where it's, you know, I know it's difficult to do it if you haven't done it before, and you've got to be pretty quick as well because of the time factors before the off. So here you're just getting 2 selections per day. So we're going to start again. This was Cheltenham, and this was on the 15th. So that would have been the last day. And what we do again, we go into column Z and we look at the shortest price. Now remember, these horses aren't going to win every race, because in reality it doesn't happen. So the shortest price so far is 2.42, but this time I'm going to put the tab number down the bottom there because they're quite hard to find. Right, so we'll go 2.42 and I'll just go stroke 2. Again, it's only for information, that's all it is. Alright, nothing there. Right, let's there's one there, 1.41. And that's on tab 4. And then we know now that we've got to beat 2.42 to have another bet. And you can see, if you just keep looking at the MySP here, you will see these prices. There will always be a price. And this is why I don't bet with horses that haven't run before, because they don't have a rating for me the way I do it. They don't have a rating, they won't have an SP, and also on the national hunt, I don't do horses that have only got point-to-point form, because again, they don't have any stake money next to them, so I can't use that form. And this is why there's some races that I just put a line through. So there we got another one, and this is 2.15. 2.15. And that's tab 14. So we know that the 242 one will now not be a bet, even though it did win. And there's another one there. Now, even though the meeting was abandoned, you wouldn't have known that when you struck your bet. So when I would do these selections at maybe 9 o'clock in the morning, it wasn't abandoned, and I don't know if, I can't foresee anything like that's going to happen. And maybe I would have posted these the night before anyway, so it certainly wouldn't have been abandoned. So the price there on tab 15 would be 1.92. And that would rule out that one. And there you can see there would have been another bet at that meeting at 212. So there'd have been some shorties there. But again, the reason for being short is because there's less runners. But keep looking at the MySP, but they do need to be 1 point something. And there was a lot of racing this day, as you can see. Right, so that is that. We're going to have a look back here. We know that 1.41 was the best bet of the day from tab 4. And that bet would have been Korak Rambler. And we know that Korak Rambler finished third running on, if we remember watching the Gold Cup. That would have been our nap of the day, and our second bet would have been in tab 15. And this would have been Haiti Cooliers, which did come out and win since that day. Right, so that would have been that. We know here that it was abandoned, so you can put in what you want here. But I'll put that just again for information. And of course, Korak Rambler didn't win. But there's nothing stopping you from doing that for a place or each way, but your stake will be different. But I only do win bets because instead of doing each way, you're putting a win bet on and a place bet on to do an each way bet. So theoretically, you're betting twice. You've got two bets. So I would rather back Korak Rambler and this Haiti Coolers to win each race rather than one of them to be placed where I've got to do two bets. Unless, of course, you just do a place bet. So Korak Rambler, price there on Betfair would be 20.7. The stake would have been £4.83. It came third and you would have lost. And the second race, we know that was abandoned, so we don't need to fill anything in. So what I'm going to try to do here, instead of just keep adding it up in my head for you, so far our stakes would have been £79.16 over the 2 days, but we know we had a win on our second horse, Breeze of Wind, that gave us back 95.50. So we're still in front, and that is the most important thing. It's long term. It's not something that you just do one day and go, oh, that's rubbish, not going to bother doing that again. You have to go on and on and on, because you can see we've only had one winner out of 4. But I just wanted to show you the last 4 days so you can work that out if there's going to be a profit or not. Right, now we're going on to Saturday, which was the poorest day in one way and the best day in another. Because if you look at the Utoxeter results here, I actually lost £250 at the Utoxeter meeting, but then in the evening at Wolverhampton, I had my highest profit, which was £264.78. So it's just gone from the extreme to, I can't work it out. But this is why you can't just bet at one meeting. You need to do all of them. And if you're not going to be committed to sitting there doing all of them, then it's easier not to do any, because you don't know what's going to win, you don't know what's going to lose. There's times where I've gone through Leicester, Kempton, where I've had 7 straight losers. But then on the same day where Leicester lost on every race, Redcar had won in every race. So that tells you that's a summer meeting. So I'd won on every race at Redcar, lost every race at Leicester. But it's what it is over a 3-month period. But even just on that day would have drawn me level on the 2 meetings. You can't just say I'm going to do Utoxeter and leave all the rest out. So let's have a look on the Saturday. Right, 2.43 is the best so far. We won't write down anything for 2.43. We'll see if we can get lower than that. But I will have that in my head for now. And there's a few all around that, but it's still the lowest 243. It's another no betting race. Right, there you go. There's one at 1.86, and that's on tab 20. And again, being a Saturday, always lots of races. Again, again, 35 there we went through. I'm just gonna, because I didn't write anything else down, so there's no preparation I've done for this, so it's just like you getting my sheet and going through it as well. 271, I remember the 243 right at the start. $2.9, but that had one as well. 2.7, 263. I think it's going to go all the way back to the first race. Yeah, right. So 2.43 would have been our second best bet of the day. So let's just put that in. And our best bet of the day was in tab 20. And this I actually gave up on the channel. So when I did all the selections for Saturday, I did give this out as the best bet of the day. And duly obliged. But again, we're going to see this now. The Betfair SP was 3.86. So you would have had £25.91 on that to return £100. And the second selection, which was Don't Rightly Know, that finished second, and it was 3.74, so required £26.74 in stakes. So what we had laid out now was £131.81. And we know that the returns there would have been 100, and from the horse earlier on it would have been 95.50. So the profit now would have been £94.18. So with only 2 winners out of 6 races, it's surprising how much profit you can get. You know, I mean, 2 out of 6, what we're talking here, 33% win on those selections. You would say, well, that's not very good. But of course, when you look at Corach Rambler, you're doing that at 20.7, and you're not even having £5 on it. So that's where the system is different from a mainstream, where you might watch someone else's video and they go, I've got that one there at 10-1 today, I've got that one there at 6-4. But the 10-1 shot, you only need £10 on it if you're going to do a set return. So that's why you can see up to Saturday here, we're showing a £94 profit for £50 stakes. Don't get me wrong. You think to yourself, well, I've only got £94, but it's all about the profit. We're going to look into, let's close this one down. I know it's pretty boring as well, but we're not doing it for that reason. We're doing it for the win part. What I'm going to do, because we're on Monday morning and it's not 9 o'clock yet, because I've worked all the form out for today's racing, I will put those 2 selections out as well, and we will look on Betfair to try and see what prices they are, but the liquidity isn't going to be there on these kind of meetings this early. Right, there was only 2 race meetings yesterday, and there was only 10 backable races, and we were lucky that we won at Chepstow, only £1.98, and at Huntingdon we won £91.94. So yesterday was still another good day for profit. I've done 12 days now on the channel by giving you selections in advance, and they're all there for proof. You can click on and watch any one of them, and we've had 10 winning days out of 12, and one of those days loss was £19 and the other one was 183, but we're still up. I think it's around £1,670 in them 12 days. But this does require a lot of work. This isn't something you can have a full-time job around and just say, I'll put them on in the morning, because it doesn't work like that. Maybe you can do that with this system that we're doing at the moment, where you just pick 2 out, and it would be part-time money for you. So we'll look back to the 10 races yesterday, and again go into the My SP column, and you only want the first price, nothing else. And there's one there, 219, and that is tab 3. And strangely enough, that was that horse that I said to you that we had done on the abandonment. I said that I've won since. And this one here is 1.71, and this was tab 5. So whatever we go to bet has to be under 2.19 now to be one of our top 2 selections. And there's one there, 214, so that does beat that, but I'll come back to that in a moment. Right. So we know this horse is going to be our second selection. And again, if you watched yesterday's video, you would have seen that I gave this horse as the best bet of the day yesterday. But it shouldn't have been for some reason. Because in that 3-horse race, my SP there was favourite for Happy and Fine. So I don't know how I didn't give that one as the best bet yesterday, but right. So that would be our final selection for yesterday. Now, Happy and Fine went off at 3.2, so would have needed a stake of £31.25 in the 3-horse race to return £100. But as you can see, it didn't get home. It fell. And the other selection we had, which I did nap at the start of the day, but I must have made a boo-boo there somewhere, Loop de Maud, and this went off at 2.06, so very close to evens, and would have required £48.54 to return £100, and it won. I'm going to leave those next 2 because I'm going to do today's nap and next best there. And because we've now had 3 winners, we had a 95.50 back. Then we had 100 for Cam Silas. And now we've just got another 100 back for Luke de Maud. And those three together would have returned us 295.50, and so far our stakes would have been 211.60. So we would have had a profit now of £83.90. But don't forget that £83.90 has been over a 4-day period here, with 7 selections that actually ran. And we're just going to work out today's, and as I say, we're not going to know the results. And sorry, it's been a bit of a makeshift one here. I didn't want to put any preparation into it. I just thought I'd do the last 4 days and we'll look back at that. So there's today's. There's 3 meetings today. We'll start off here. We've got 404. Don't forget we're in that MySP column. Right, I've got a 290. $290 in column 2. I'll do everything to start with that's 2 point something. No bet in the third, no bet in the fourth. In the fifth here we've got a 236. So that's that one. So now we know anything that we do has to be under 2.9. We've got a 2.29 in tab 9. So now we're not going to need the 2.9. So we've got 2.29 and 2.36. So the only way they're going to get beat is if someone is under 2.36. Keep going down. There's nothing at the moment. And that's it. So those 2 are going to be the selections for today, Monday. And the best bet is going to be the 229 on tab 9. So Max Dynamo will be our best bet. And our second bet will be 236 on tab 5. And that is Ruler of the River. So they're going to be our 2 best selections of the day, or the 2 shortest price ones that I've come up with that I think are going to be short. we'll save that and get rid of that. Right. So what we'll do now is we've got these two horses that are going out today, and I'll just put a different colour there so we know these haven't run. And delete that and delete that. We'll open up Betfair for now. And let's see. Well, the one thing I didn't take note of was the times of the races, where they were running. So that's another mistake that I've made there. I should have done this a lot better than what I've done there. So I think one was tab 5 that I remember. The other one tab 9. Yeah. So let's start off with tab 5. That was Southall 4 o'clock. So we'll go into Southall 4 o'clock this afternoon. And we'll see at the moment that Ruler of the River is trading at 2.94. So 2.94 would mean that we need £34 and a penny on that to return £100. But we will look at the liquidity there. It's on 104. That needs to come down to 101 point something before I would have a bet. Doesn't mean that that's the value, take it now, because it could go off at even money. So to take 15 to 8 would be better to do, but I wouldn't bet until this comes down. And the other horse that we said on tab 9 is in the 245 at Fontwell. So the 245 at Fontwell. Max Dynamo is the outsider there at 9.2. So this is what I say, never do level stakes. I know you can win more if it wins, but you can also lose more. So 9.2, and the one thing I didn't check again was the liquidity here is 104.8 over round. So you need to get that down at least another 3%. So again, betting closer to the off is the best thing to do there. Right, so Max Dynamo would require £10.87 to return £100, and as we know, the other one, Ruler of the River, £34 and a penny. And the total stakes now, which would be for 5 days, would be £256.48. I'll just move that down, and then I'll do the stake there. So that's what we've laid out in the 5 days. We've got 295.50 in the bank. So the 295.50 minus the 256.48 would still leave you a profit in 5 days of £39.02, plus you have 2 horses running for you today. So if one of those was to win, we know they're going to return £100, so you would be £139 up, which would be quite nice. That's extra money to buy what you want with, really, pay for the shopping for the week. So, because of looking at Max Dynamo, you think to yourself, 9.2, can that really win? But that's why your stake is a lot less, because of the price. And you looked at that with Korak Rambler at £4.83. So don't sort of get greedy and start putting the same on each of them, because I'm not a magician. These horses, as you can see, I'd only had 3 winners from 7 selections. And if we just do 3 divided by 7, you can see the percentage of that is not 43%. So it's not the greatest of win rates, right? But it is showing a profit because of the level stakes that we use. So again, all the systems that I've showed you this morning, whether it be the lay bets, the value bets, all these systems profit. You don't just need to do the one that I'm doing, but of course, at the moment we've got a good return there for the amount of days we've been doing it. But all these systems do win. If you want to do less horses and you just want to do 2 a day, then these are the 2 a day that I give. But there's no guarantees in horse racing or winning at all. There's no guarantees. So it's just sticking by it. Every professional punter out there will tell you, or if you go on YouTube anywhere and look at these videos, they will tell you that they have low times as well as the good times. And you'll see this as I continue. It's all good at the moment. Will it go down? No one knows. So those 2 are your 2 today then. Max Dynamo and Ruler of the River. But I'm sorry it's been really boring, that video, and I didn't really do any overnight studying on it to bring it forward, so it was all there. But that's where we are with that. So there's still a profit. So let's hope that one of those 2 can win today. And I'll see you in the next video.